What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Moon Studio Moonshine, their version of a masterpiece Shouki. So this is the fourth in their series of train bots that make up the combiner Radiatron or Raiden. And I actually haven't looked at the third one yet because I got that with this one. But we're going to take a look at this one first because I think this is the one that people are most interested in. There's actually a lot you need to do right out of the box before you get started with messing with it, and there's a lot of things that are just kind of out of place and need to be fixed. So number one is these things just move on you, so you can kind of lock them in place by coming to here and folding this tab downwards. And it doesn't actually lock into anything, but it does create a little friction so that doesn't move around. All right, same on this one. You're gonna have to fold it the other direction because it's on the top. Fold down that tab and then rotate that inwards, and those should now hold. The other thing you're noticing, if you haven't already, is this ankle is loose. There's nothing I can do about that except use some Kiki. So I was planning to show you that first, but this is apparently a common issue on these. A lot of people are getting these loose ankles, so I would put some floor polish or something in there to tighten up. But you want to take these feet, those are going to accordion forward. You're going to take this, and that's going to tab in and hold that foot in place, or the toe. Same with this one. Fold this toe outwards, and it should accordion up and out, and then tab this into place. It should tab in on the front and the back. All right, next we want to kind of fix his backpack. So come to the back here, lift this up, take the head out. Now I recommend leaving this protective cover on the head because it is somewhat painted. We don't want to scratch it up, but there's a little circular tab right in here. It's actually the front of the back of this chest piece here, but that actually has to go into the head. Now it's a little tough to line it up, but you do want to get that in there. That'll kind of solidify and secure everything. It's just a little tough to see what you're doing and whether you hit it. I hit it that time, so you need to hold this while pushing that in, and it will tab in. So that's locked in place. Next thing you want to do is take this backpack here. There's two tabs. Those are going to go into these slots right here on his back. So get those down, push that in, and that's going to kind of solidify his backpack. And the last thing is these might be sitting loose, so you want to get this tabbed in. They actually lock in place. They tab in place right there. So push that in, and even for maybe a step further, you can take these two things and just get them tabbed together, just so it moves as a single hip skirt. You don't have to do that. That's not part of it, but I figured that helps with some of the things getting in the way and kibble and stuff like that. So at this point, you're ready to start playing with this character or this toy. I'm going to go do this off camera because this is going to bug me for the entire review, and I don't want to deal with that. All right, we're back from fixing this. We did put some floor polish, so it's nice and tight now. It doesn't go anywhere. So that definitely helps. So I recommend doing that. So far, everyone has told me theirs was loose as well. So speaking of that, let's go over the articulation of this guy. The head is on a ball joint, so it gets up to there, down to there. If you lift up on the panel that it's sitting on, you can get it way down and way up. Very nice head sculpt there. Silver metallic eyes with a silver face, and then the nice painted head crest. All that looks really, really good. Very accurate to the cartoon, which I'll put over there so you can take a look. You have a rotation at the shoulder all the way around. You have a drop down joint here on the shoulder that allow you to get it up a little bit further. You kind of want to hold this panel in, otherwise it'll come untabbed. And speaking of that, that is another thing you might have to do out of the box, is this tab likes to come undone. So this one is just tabbed in right here, and then this one is tabbed forward into there. So you want to get that tabbed in, and then get this tabbed in, and give it a nice firm squeeze so that it'll stay. And that will probably be off in the box. All right, so we can put this back up. You have a rotation of the bicep. I recommend holding on the bicep itself and not down here like we normally do, because this arm starts to come apart. But a rotation here at the bicep, and you have a double joint elbow here. So it does kind of this internal piece, but I haven't really seen a lot of companies do that. That's kind of neat. Gets you the full bend. Yeah, rotation at the wrist, individually articulated fingers on two pins. So one here at the middle, and then on the inside, it is a ball joint, but it's well done. It doesn't have like that loose KFC hands feel. As you're rotating this, you just want to hold here because otherwise this will come apart on you, these arms. It is actually not, straight here. This piece is curved, so it does have a little bit of a funny look, but I don't mind it too much. Nice details here on the chest. This shiny blue with the yellow and gray accents, and then the silver down here. All of that looks really, really nice. Coming down here, you have a rotation at the waist. You do have an ab crunch. It goes up basically that much. So that's nice. You have hip skirts here on the front, and on the back you have this gigantic hip skirt. You can't get it out of the way. You can just kind of fold it, but whatever you need to do. That allows the legs to go up to there on ratchets. Back to here. Actually, if you move this out of the way, you can get it all the way back up. So I like that they made those movable. Although out of the box, these are kind of just flopping around, so you're going to have to fix that. Out to the side on friction, holds very nicely. Rotation at the thigh. Rotation at the knee for transformation. So you can kind of get that adjusted however you like. Coming down the ankles, and we kind of looked at the ankles already. They tilt all the way up to there. You can get the toe up and down here if you untab it from here. But not really meant for articulation there. But there you go. Then you get some nice accessories with this guy. You get his blaster here, silver paint here, nice black sort of metallic paint on the gun. You can put that in his hand just like all the rest. It just tabs into palm and he holds that very nicely. And it's a good, nice looking gun overall. I like what they've been doing with the weapons here. You also get the chest plate here for the combined mode. I don't see any way, and there's no instructions that say that you can attach this somewhere, like a shield or something. I did notice you could do this, so I'll just show you. If you put the arm up, you can kind of get it on top like that. I don't know if that's official or not, but he can sort of pretend that's a shield or something like that. And for size comparison, there it is next to the Transform Element Optimus Prime. A little bit shorter. I mean, they're all basically the same height, but looks good with a Masterpiece Collection. And for another comparison, there it is next to his Train Brothers, Dark Knight and Iceland. And looks good. He is a little bit shorter than those two, but I think it makes sense. It looks good as far as scale. He is part of the torso. I think Shouki is the leader. I don't know fully. This is from the Headmasters series, which I never really watched, so I don't know that much about them, but I do think they look good together. Okay, now let's get him transformed into his train mode. I will warn you, it is a very challenging transformation. I'll do my best to show everything on camera and make sure I go over the steps. It's just going to be tough because there's some spots where I have to be able to see, and I might have to get it off camera. But let's start with the easy stuff. Come down to here, open this up, and push your feet back in on this accordion piece. Open up this panel right here. Take this, and this is going to come to the front and tab in there. And that's going to make basically the door for the back of the train. All right, so same on this side. Open this up. Bring this, accordion this down and in. Fold this to the front, and then open up this little door on the bottom. And that's probably the easiest thing of the entire transformation, sadly. Go ahead and open up this panel here. And inside, you'll see... here's the actual wheels, but we can take this, accordion this down. Actually, sorry, open up this panel here on the side. And then tab this in. Make sure you line it up. All little tabs have to go in. All right, so there's one side. Let's go ahead and come to the other side, do the exact same thing. You can unpeg all of this from his backpack. And we're going to open up these and just let that sit downwards. These are going to rotate around. And you can see that's going to make the back of the train. We can actually get this together now. So open these wheels up so you can reveal the two little tabs. These are done exactly the same way as the first two. So it's an over-under tab on these wheels. It can be challenging because there's some moving parts here, but get this pegged together and then work on these over under tabs. These can be a little bit tricky, but all right, so go ahead and take these. Those will flip all the way around. And that's going to hold these wheels in place. Right, and make sure you get it all the way down because that's really the position you wanted it. All right, next we'll work on the upper body and the arms. So go ahead and take these panels here, open that up. Open up the arms here. And like I mentioned, these do open up fairly easily when you're not wanting it to. Take this. This is going to accordion down into here. And we're going to take this panel here. That's going to open up like that. And that'll allow you to take this hand and just fold that inwards. Right? So that's what it looks like from the side. Then you're going to come to the bottom here, unpeg this panel from here, and that's going to fold all the way up. You can unpeg this from the side, and that'll kind of release that piece here. And we're going to fold that back up. Okay, so it should look something like that. Oops, that came down. It should look something like that when you're done. All right, so let's do the other side now. There's the arms, kind of ready position. Take this, unpeg it from here. This is probably the most annoying part of the entire transformation, this nose cone, which we'll get to a little bit later. Right now, all we're doing is just taking off the backpack. And mine has this issue, so there's two little pegs there. They go inside those two little holes there. It comes off. I don't think everybody's is like this, but since it comes off, it's going to irritate me for the entire time we're transforming here. I'll probably glue it and just never do this again. But I'm just going to set this aside for now. But this is going to come apart and sit like this, and then later we'll get this into train mode. But for now, if you have this still attached, just kind of get that out of the way. All right, so lift this up and out of the way. We're going to get this head out of here. So this is going to come back and out. And you are going to have to take off, if you have the plastic wrap on there, you'll have to take that off. And we're going to actually open up this head. Now mine, it's supposed to stay on this little folding piece and sit flat. Mine doesn't. Mine comes off. So I don't know what the deal is there. It seems like this little joint piece isn't done well, but it does snap back on, so just leave that down for now. Come to the inside here, we're going to take this chest, and this is going to open up. We got to get this to pass through, so these wheels have to pass through the inside of the chest. So just get this up and out of the way. And you can leave this down. That's the easiest way to just keep it out of your way so it's not bugging you. All right, so straighten up the legs so they look like that. Go ahead and take these arms. Now these are tricky. You have to have the position really exactly right. So you're going to fold here at this joint. That's going to allow the entire arm to come up and in. And then it's going to come back down on the inside. And it's a little tricky. I'm going to take this entire thing and fold it so that this piece is flat. And that'll allow you to take this and bring this inwards. Let's see, there we go. Oh, and my hand popped out. All right, so but it should end up like that. Okay, so the arm's all the way in. Make sure you have this completely square. So this should be completely square. This should be completely square. 90-degree angles on that. You will have trouble later if you don't get that all square. All right, now let's go ahead and do the other arm. So come down to here, open up these panels, unfold this flap here. That's going to come down to the side. Make sure your train is straight. You need everything kind of lined up for things to work right, and it does get in your way. But so get this panel down and into position on this side. Same on this side. Open this up. Open up this panel, get this down into position. All right, next we'll take care of this head piece here. So this is going to rotate around on this ball. We're going to rotate these so that you have the black pieces facing upwards or towards the front of the train. And if you don't do that step, you might have a little trouble later, and I have this problem. I don't think, most people probably won't have this, where the head's falling off. It's not a big deal. And then the last thing you're going to do is just plug. This is supposed to push in and sit flat. Okay, so accordion this all down. This has to go into here and sit flat inside of here. It can be a little bit tricky. By the way, this waist panel should be tabbed back in underneath that head. Right? But that's what it should look like when you're done. Everything should fit. If you don't have all of that aligned, you're going to have trouble later. So make sure you have it configured like this. And get that in there. And same on this side. Go ahead and take these panels on the side and you're going to line those up and get them pegged in. They're over under tabs again on both the bottom and the top. So get those lined up. Same on this side. Those lined up. Oh, and we lost this panel here. Come on, man. All right. There really is a lot going on with this transformation. All right, next go ahead and take these two panels and get those tabbed together. We take this, bring this down and on top and into the top of those two panels, and that'll kind of square that away. We still don't want to close this, so just leave that open. But be careful not to scratch the paint on this. Come to here, you're going to fold out this little antenna or doodad, whatever that is, and that's going to allow you to take this, and it's going to come down and in. On the front here, this actually has to plug in to these, so there's two little things here. Now, you're not going to be able to see this clearly, but because my nose cone came off, that's why you're able to see everything. So it's a lot easier to show you what to do, but that's got to come down, and then this is going to tab into that. All right, so get that all squeezed together. Now, we're going to take this nose cone. Now, it should have been there the entire time, but it's not because mine fell off. I'll probably have to glue these back into here, but pretending like it's been there the whole time, you're going to take this. Now, here's a problem right here. These have to fit underneath and inside here, but the clearance is not enough. Now, if you don't care about train mode, I wouldn't bother with this, but if you do, you're going to have to shave a little bit of material because I don't think they accommodated for the tolerance of the paint and the material for this to fit under here and in between this little gray piece. So that's all got to fit in there. So that's a little issue. I actually think that's a mismolding. I don't think it's just my copy. I think it's just all across the board. They mismolded that piece. So you may need to adjust that. All right, and this last part is probably the hardest part. This nose cone, trying to get this all in here. It's not going to go, you're going to have a gap somewhere, no matter what. And mine especially is difficult because this keeps separating right at that joint there. But get it together as close as you can. This is going to have to fit underneath this glass. You're going to have a little bit of gaps. Go ahead and take this panel here, open this up, and that little tab's going to go down into here. That'll help hold it together. And hopefully it doesn't come apart again. Get this panel in, get this tab in the bottom there. This has to work its way around this front little tab right here. So go ahead and do that. And then make its way into the front here. So that's what the front should look like. Same on this side. So go ahead and get this folded all the way down. Tab that into here first. And then take this one, tab that into those gray tabs, and that's what it should look like. And the head is kind of hidden in there. Open up these wheels, and then we're going to rotate these little holding pins all the way in so that the wheels will stay up. And there we have Moonshine transformed into his train mode. Now I did off camera glue this piece back in, so that front piece that was coming out, and that actually improved it a lot. So I'm able to get it together now. There's a little gap, but for the most part, it's together. Not a bad looking train, to be honest, now that I got that fixed. I like to show how it comes without, fixing or modifying anything during the review. But once I showed it that there was an issue, then I just went off and glued it, and that definitely helped. So there it is. Pretty nice. You got the yellow headlights up here, blue across the side. I have a little bit of paint rub down here, unfortunately, but this is blue paint here. But pearlescent white on the top, silver on the top, and on the back you got the door. You do have a place for storage here. Unfortunately, I didn't put it in. I'm not going to take this apart, but this fits right in between. There's a little gap there between those two little pegs. You can get the back of the gun there, and then the front of the gun can go all the way through here. So it can get through the inside of this. Again, I'm not going to put it in there, but you can store it inside. You can also store the chest piece here. Really nicely, beautifully painted. There's two little tabs here. Those are going to fit into the front, right behind this little antenna thing. So just get those pegged in there. You might want to fold this forward just a bit so it doesn't, collide with it, but fits in nicely right there. I don't think anything actually pegs in on the back. It just sort of sits there. But nice that they gave you a little storage for that. And for size comparison, there they are all together, the trains. And these two are basically exactly the same, both bullet trains, same height, same length, same width. This is also the same height and length, width, but a little bit shorter in terms of the length. The nose of the train comes a little bit further. You can't attach these together. It comes with this little piece here. I will warn you, these are really tight. You can see I bent this one a little bit, but these are magnetic little attachment pieces. And these will come on the back here. And there's a little what do you call it, a little tab or piece there. You're going to attach this to here. Now it is a really tight fit, so I just be careful, give it a little support back here. But now you have this here. Then go ahead and come on this one. I mean, it doesn't matter, you can put it on the front or back. I'd probably put it on the back. The front one is painted, and you can see I tried putting it on there and it got a little bit of damage, so be careful. I'd recommend the back one since this one is not painted. It would be easier. Right, and then go ahead and take this, and that's going to attach together. And there you go, they can be attached. Now if you have a Lego track, you probably get this to go, but I don't have a Lego track, but you can attach all the trains together, and then you could do this one if you wanted to with another piece. But there you go for the trains. I like them. And for a quick size comparison, there is next to MP10. Similar height, maybe a little bit shorter, obviously longer. And, it's not going to scale. These trains are probably a lot bigger than this in real life. But good enough for me, good enough for a masterpiece collection. All right, now let's get this guy into his combine mode. And in case you're wondering, I didn't bring in Iron Arm in his train mode because I haven't actually looked at it, reviewed it yet. We will bring him in for the combine mode so we can see it together with this guy. But that's really the main thing I'm going to do is put together the torso